All right, let's get started. My name is Stefan Semmelroth, and today we're going to talk about some things that everyone hates. No one likes this stuff. Who likes writing resumes? Who likes looking in the mirror at yourself and seeing all of your flaws? I don't. I don't like it at all. I hate writing my own resume. I can't stand it. So why have I looked at thousands of other people's resumes and stared at them and red-penned them to make sure that they can win? Oh, it is frustrating and it's hard and it hurts sometimes. But when you get it right, it wins. And you win, and whoever's going to hire you wins. Or if you're a hiring manager, you get to go find somebody else that's going to be awesome and help you win. That's why we're going to talk about resumes today. We're going to talk about resumes because it's a thing that you have to do, not a thing that you want to do. Period. All right, there's my LinkedIn. Connect with me. I'll have that out a couple times. My goal is to make sure that the community wins. One of my personal goals is that we get to up-level the community of cybersecurity practitioners. My goal is that everyone in this room now, you to get your next job so that way you and your family can live in a better way. We increase the happiness in the world. Can we all agree on that? I'm gonna point to you every time. Thank you. Oh, we do. The more you participate, the more likely I will hand you one of those. Okay. A lot of the pictures are so copyright. Nothing that I'm going to talk about today is related to any experiences I may have had, or currently still have, or anything that's covered under NDA. And of course, continue at your own risk. Here be dragons, and don't hack things you're not supposed to. Okay. The guy this talk. So over 20 years ago, I responded to my first cyber incident. I didn't value that experience when I did. It was the NIMDA virus. It was over SMB. Has anybody exploited or responded to SMB in the last year or two? Thank you. Yep, it's still out there. There's still SMB flaws. And the funny thing is, the 84-hour incident response that I just finished last night, I asked the same questions during that incident response that I did 20 years ago. Because the landscape has really not changed. The way that we lead organizations through incident response really hasn't changed. And it's all about people, which is why we're going to talk about resumes. Then West Point Infantry, electrical engineering, we can talk about that later. In 2015, I found out I had broken my back, and I had to have a spinal fusion. And when I woke up from surgery, my surgeon, who's hilarious, a phenomenal sense of humor, he's standing at the foot of my bed, and I can't see what he's doing. And I said, "Come on, doc, give me a break." And he goes, "No, really, can you feel this?" "No, I can't." "It'll probably come back." That's what he told me. It'll probably come back. By it, he meant feeling and the ability to walk. Look what I'm doing. Awesome. Ooh. I don't have that many prizes, but keep going. So then came down here, came to the Cyber Corps, got picked up pretty early on, which is a really challenging part as we were building this community. As the Cyber Center was not here yet. The formation of the industry hasn't been here. There were things that were happening, but there wasn't a big structure around it. And we got to be part of writing what the Cyber Corps has become today. In 2019, I ended up getting retired, and I thought, how am I going to take what I have done, the network that I've built out, the amazing people that I know, and help them out in their careers? What am I going to do? What does that even look like? I thought, I'll just do the same thing that I've always done and help people out. But I need to get paid to do that. How can I do that? I'll build a recruiting company. So I did. 2019, I launched my company, and I thought, you know what? This will be something I do in my spare time. This will be something that I do for fun, just back to the community. So that's where I started really diving into the craft of resume writing and what it is. Because if you're going to do something, the trade craft that you apply has to be the best in the world. It must be the best in the world for you to succeed. Because if you're not competing, sorry, I walk around a lot. You're going to keep you busy. If you're not competing, then you're just there to show up. And competition is what we do because that is how we win in cybersecurity. If we're not competing against the adversary or against corporate, against our bosses, then how are we really going to win? How are we going to sharpen the edge of what we do in order to get to victory? So that was why recruiting. Cool, great. Became a master of my craft. Read damn near every single out resumes on the market. I went to webinars, very, very frustrating because no one agrees on any of this. And we'll touch back on that in a second. 2020, 14 months into launching my company, I sold it. What? Holy cow. I've only been doing this for 14 months and I've built something that's good enough to sell? Incredible. I didn't think I'd be at that point yet. I didn't anticipate it. I didn't plan on it. But it went back to my mission of being able to get more people amazing jobs to increase their family's happiness. Okay, if that's the case, and this aligns with who I am as a person, game on, let's go, no looking back, let's go. Okay, so what I'm doing now is, after I sold it, I'm effectively a vCISO. I come in, I help my clients understand at the CISO level what it is their security posture, help them through incident response, help them through disasters, get them back up and going, and have a whole lot of fun while we're doing it. Because I happen to thrive in conflict, I really enjoy it, so the more conflict there is, the better for me, because I'm a glutton for punishment. But when we can provide a stabilizing force, and we can come together, and everyone's freaking out, and we say, hey, let's just take a second, let's make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're headed in the right direction. And what we're about to do, will this actually have an impact? It will? Great. So because of that, I convinced my marketing team that mentoring people is a part of marketing. So I spend about 2.5 hours a week on just mentoring people in this community. So if you'd like to, connect with me, ask. We'll find a time to make sure that we can talk about where you want to go with your career. So all of that to say, resumes. Why the heck do we even need a resume anymore? We've got LinkedIn. We've got a social media profile. We have Medium, where you can go and you can write and you can put out the content that shows that you are the best in the world out there. We've got Hack the Box. We've got all these amazing things that, why do I still need a stupid one-slide piece of paper that maybe encapsulates who I am? Because when we look at it, not everybody in an organization knows what those things are. So for every one cyber practitioner that's out there, there are 10 IT people that are keeping the lights on the grass screen. And for every 10 IT people that are keeping the lights on the grass screen, which is an incredibly challenging thing to do, by the way, there are 100 developers. So think about it. From an HR and a recruiting standpoint, if you have an HR person, their job is to go out and bring in 100 developers and 10 IT people and one cybersecurity person, why the hell are they going to know the difference between CISSP and Sec+? Why are they going to take that time? When you look at the cybersecurity certification landscape, and there's 105 or so different certifications that could be considered cyber, there's 30 on there that I don't even know what they are yet. So if I don't know that, why would an HR person, especially a junior HR person, my brother, what's going on? Good to see you. Oh man, they're just coming in. What's up, guys? I'm not sorry about this, but here's something that's really hard to know. In the resume world, no matter what you do, you're going to be wrong. The goal is to be the least wrong possible. Hey, Stefan, I paid $500 for somebody to look at my resume and read it, review it, and I think I've got a really good product. That's amazing. Let me see it. Who did this for you? My cousin's friend's aunt. Well, she's an HR person, and she works at a trucking company. That is great. I'm sure she's the best in the world at what she does, but she doesn't have the context about bits and bytes that we do. So I'm sorry that you spent that money. Maybe you can go get a refund. It's not going to help you in this space. Hiring managers don't know how to read it. And we're going to get in a couple other places. They don't know how to read it. They don't know what it means. Because the way that it was written was not for them. Who are the 4 audiences? We talked about hiring manager. I like this one on the left. The 23-year-old screener with a couple years of experience in HR who makes the first pass. Ooh, that's the person that's going to put me in the yes, no, or maybe bucket? Shoot. They need to be able to read this. They need to be able to read it. So if I put my resume in a JSON format and publish it to my own personal website, because then the hiring managers will know it, you've missed the other 3 audiences. Recruiter. There's internal and external recruiters. An internal recruiter at a company probably works for HR. They might have an idea of what's going on. An external recruiter, which is what I was, that specializes in a specific area, they're going to know. Funny story, the best recruiters that I know that are in the cybersecurity are all electrical engineers. So if there's any EEs out there, join the space, we'll have a talk, I'll let you know how to set up your company. The hiring manager, that's who we all want to talk to, because they know the difference between Splunk and Elk. Heyo. And then an applicant tracking system. Who likes applicant tracking systems in here? Thank you. We all hate them. Unfortunately, they are part of this project of who are the 4 audiences. So when we craft a stupid resume, when we do the work, we have to think about all 4 of these audiences. Can I get this past an applicant tracking system? Can the hiring manager actually get a chance to see it? Will the recruiter understand what the heck am I writing? And then the yes, maybe bucket person, 23-year-old screener, can they understand what this is as well? And remember, 110-1. That's the battle that we're fighting with this stupid piece of paper. So, again, we can't agree. Here's a couple of books that are out there. And I wanted to take a look at just the top, one of the top lines. An objective statement versus a career summary. Which one's more important? Should we even have them? Turns out that's an incredibly challenging problem statement. Which one? So Ladders, they're the ones that had the quote for the 4 audiences. They said never use an objective statement, and you should absolutely use a career summary. Mistakes says never, never. Crap. Okay, we got to do more research. Here's 3 more. Sometimes, yes. Never, yes. Sometimes, yes. So what's right? Well, you depends on where you're at in your career, what you have done, and where you want to go. Are you in a major spent the last 20 years taking care of your kids, now you're getting back into the workforce? Are you transitioning? Have you transitioned out of the military? Where are you in that in the pipeline? And are you going to transition career fields? Maybe you want to switch from hardcore eyes down tech to engineering. To the demo. EP. Where do you? So, based off this, objective summary might be right, but probably not. By the way, recruiters are. Here's the vast majority of, and they read the objective. Scan for a couple keywords. The goal really is just to beat the applicant tracking system often. Who here has applied for more than 50 jobs online? Who here's applied for more than 100? Who here's applied for more than 200? Look around. It's a real thing. have this. Resumes aren't the actual answer. Okay, so what type of... Has anybody heard about a functional resume? Burn it out of your mind now. As a recruiter, if I see a functional resume, and I see a functional resume, it tells me that you're... Because if I have to go through and figure out where the hell you worked, for how long you worked there, and what you did, that takes me more than 15 seconds, and you're not worth the time. Hard truth. If I have to do the work to read your damn resume and figure it out, when I have hundreds, because you're probably trying to hide something, and when you go through and you do the case studies of why do you have a functional resume, well, I heard that it's important getting a general. That's why I did it. Okay, what else did you do? That's when I was in prison. Oh, okay, you legitimately are trying to hide something. And I've got enough anecdotes. Resume on chronological. We talk about this. Who for? Great, you're all graduates of Untitled Chapter. Let's just talk about some things in here. And this is a resume. I believe I got all the PI. First, resume. What is that, like 8 lines? Not going to read it, sorry. Don't care. Classic, here's 9 bullet points about things that I think the applicant tracking system wants to learn about me. Oh, good, risk management. So does everybody else. We're in cybersecurity. Here. Hey, look, I had it for a little while, and somehow bullets. 5. What? Get out of that. Like, what did you actually do? There's lots of words here, but how do I know that you're a performer? How do I know that you actually moved the needle at an organization? That we took a project and got it from start to finish? That we executed? That we made sure that clients were happy? Made sure that we brought in revenue to the company, or that we reduced costs? It doesn't say that at all. And oh, by the way, an application system. Has anyone happened to talk to a developer that has built an applicant tracking system? Oh, I have. Oh, that is another story. Let me give you this. Your best developer put on the things that are going to make you money, and your interns are the ones that build your app. So anytime you put in a resume and they look at it, somebody had a semicolon in their application system, broker system, because we didn't actually do proper scrubbing. So anytime there's something that we don't understand, we just drop the resume out of our system. Real talk, it's a thing. So we don't put silly things like graphs, tables, pictures, actual embedded hyperlinks, colors. We have to keep it simple because an applicant tracking system is one of the stupid 4 audiences we're writing this for in the first place. Who's seen this resume? It's all over the place, right? Marissa Mayer, CEO of Yahoo. This is her resume. No, it's not. This is not her resume. This is a company that designs resumes that decided to make this one as a marketing tool to go through and push it. So you all, everybody that's seen this and thought that this was a great idea, you got social engineered by a marketing team. Oh, it looks like it's a great idea. But remember, hiring manager is only one of 4 audiences. And also, Marissa Mayer don't need no resume. She's not going to need one in the first place. Okay, what do you need in the header? Because I'm going to give you some tactical, realistic things that you are going to take away with. 1, name. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised when I see resumes and there's no name on it, or a phone number, or an actual email address. Huh. Wait, does that say clearance? I can put my clearance on my resume. You're damn right you can put your clearance on your resume. And if you have one and you're applying for a job that requires a clearance and you don't put it on your resume, guess which bucket you go into? You go into the no bucket. But I thought if I was a performer, then they can see that by this beautiful piece of paper that I've written. They're going to call me and see if I've got my resume, and they're going to go check in the system, or my clearance, and they're going to go check in the system. No, they won't, because they don't know if you did. And if you don't have it on there, you're disqualified. That's right. Conversation I've had literally hundreds of times. When you can work, available date. If you're transitioning, you must have it on there. If you are already out in the field, maybe you need it, maybe you don't. Probably not. If you're going to move, where you're going to move to in the current city. And I say city, I specifically don't say address, because what if you're from the wrong side of the railroad tracks? Are you going to let a recruiter discriminate on you based off of where you happen to put your head down at night? Hell no. So don't put your address, put your city or your region. Because why would you want to put no box? Because of a preconceived notion that they have about you. And then, of course, if you got LinkedIn, GitHub, or a website, put them on there as well. Flat HTML, not an actual link, just HTTPS://. And then again, no links, no icons, no tables, no little LinkedIn little bubble. Don't do it, because it's probably going to break an applicant tracking system. Okay, most important things first. We have 3 resumes here. First one on the left. Education, work experience, skills, certifications, and volunteering. This is what a junior resume should look like in terms of order. Put the most important thing about you first. If I have to dig through it to figure out whether you're qualified, that's on you, that's not on me. Tell me what I need to know about you first. If you just graduated or you're about to graduate from a program, put it up there. Carnegie Mellon, Masters of Computer Science, applied. Ooh, tingles. I want that. If that's buried way at the bottom, because I know out of some programs, you're going to be best in the world. And if I can't figure that out real quick, then again, probably in the maybe pile if you're lucky. This next one, this is maybe somebody that's transitioning. Maybe they're coming back to the workforce, they're switching around a little bit. They've got more skills than they have work experience, that's fine. So they put their skills up front. They put it up front. I'm damn good at regular expressions. I will crush them. Okay, good. Now I have an idea of not only what you're best at, but where to put you. Boom! This next one, this is a senior. This is a senior. They've got so much work experience, I don't care if they've got a degree or not. Because I can tell that they're the best in the world, like Nando. And then down there, yeah, they check the box. Yeah, good, they've got the degree, the blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Nailed it. White space. When you see a resume that looks like this, that's got all this ton of wasted white space on there, when a bullet goes one line and then one word on another line, you are self-selecting into the ability to not really utilize that and tell me about you. So either write smaller or add enough information to close the gap, to get information all the way out there. I know, oh, look at that, carry return on the page. About how to write this shorter, how to write it smaller. The community will help you edit. Here's another one. You see this all the time. Cool, look, I've got columns. This is only good if you're going into a job that's UI focused, user interface focused, design focused, marketing focused. That's the only time to do columns, because again, applicant tracking systems can't parse columns. Oh, stay away from them. Bullets. This is where the most red penning happens, on the bullets. If you're at a company, you switch jobs. Maybe you go from help desk to pen tester at the same company. 2 different bullet sections, or 2 different actual sections. The most you get for any role is 2 to 4 bullets. Because any more than that, it really feels like you're trying to prove a point that you're good, but the more you try to prove the point that you're good, the harder it feels to know. So if I deployed Puppet across the scenario, deployed Ansible across the scenario, deployed this across the scenario, and each of those is a bullet, I'm going to stop reading. Because you could have put Ansible, comma, Puppet, comma, blah. And then I would actually go, okay, you're in charge of deployment. See the difference there? Deployed. The other thing, I like the bullet format. So either var or car. Challenge, action, result. Very simple. Past tense verb, ed. Ed. Led, which is L-E-D, by the way, not L-E-A-D. That's lead. L-E-D. Led a team of 5 engineers to launch a V1 product in a new marketing space. Boom, I got that. V1 product, awesome. Excellent, I love it. Use numbers. Built a sales funnel of $420,000 a month revenue. Boom, okay. Discovered 4 CVEs. Boom, all right, I'm feeling this, okay. And then always, just like anything else, we're going to put the most important bullet first. So the thing that you're trying to do next, that is that next bullet. So remember that kind of career statement, where you want to go in your future, the next job that you have. That's your problem statement, and everything else on the resume should be the documentation that shows why you want to go in that direction. Think of it like an essay. I want to go here. My next job role is here. Okay, supporting evidence. Wow. And we get to do that by being brief. So use brevity as we write this out. Write short. Okay. Things to avoid. Here's the work role that I did, the job description. And then my 4 bullets of how I performed. No one cares what you were responsible for. When I was working with those 3 gentlemen over there, part of my responsibility was to be the defense lead for the dark side of the moon. And did we succeed? Did we defend the dark side of the moon? Yes, we did. I was responsible for it, but we didn't do anything about it. No one attacked the dark side of the moon. So was I successful? We did a lot of other stuff. We did amazing stuff. We set the stage for things that are still happening today. Set the stage. Past tense first. Y'all feel me? So responsible for, again. Not starting with verb, 3 lines of bullet, okay. And then, listing every single technology that you touched, because that just looks like you pull it up and it's like looking at a CDW catalog of all the different things that you can buy. I don't care. Let's leave the focus things. On the flip side of that, things that if you have a good recruiter, they're going to know what OSCP is. If you have that 23-year-old screener, they're not going to know how Kali ties into OSCP. And they're not going to know that if you've been able to accomplish OSCP, you probably understand Python, Ruby, and what an exploit is and how to netcat. So depending on how you craft this and where you're at in your career, you may need to have some more of those things in the skills section. And then you can have a couple bullets. So the point is kind of add 3, but be judicious about it. Again, certifications. They can be important in the space. And they should be important in the space. But they're for the hiring manager, they're not for the recruiting team. So put them in the right order. The most important one first. Don't put them in timeline. So if you have, a gold standard certification, but you earned it 3 years ago, and then you had to, for 85, 70 requirements, you had to go get some other stupid little thing. Don't put the stupid little thing first. Put the big one first. Because then the recruiter gets to understand what the heck it is you actually did. Y'all can read, I'm not going through this. Okay, thanks, Stefan. You told me not what to do. And what do we do next? Go to my GitHub. It's right here. The outcome of reading those thousands of resumes and writing thousands of resumes and red penning thousands of resumes, this, in my mind, is the and it's free. It's open source. Fork it. Make it your own. Publish it. Take it. I don't care. I want the industry to be better. So it's right there. Pull it in. Pull it in. Let's talk about it a little bit more. Okay. So when you actually pull it up, there's two documents in there. There's the guidance one, which has a lot of the things that we've talked about in here. Read through it. Read through it. Internalize it. Understand what it is that you're doing. Get to know it. Get to feel it. Because this is the thing that you will be judged by, whether that is wrong or right, whether it feels good or it feels bad. So get to know it. It's right there. There's some of the biggest things that I've seen. And then links, if you don't believe me, to other articles by some of the best people in the world that have been doing this, like Laszlo Bock, who ran Google's HR program. So you don't have to believe Stefan. You can believe Laszlo. Here's the actual thing. The template itself. Yes, shameless marketing for when I still own my company. Delete the logo. You don't have to leave it in. Come on, I gotta have a little bit of marketing here. So it's a template. Here it is. Pretty simple. The red stuff, there it is. It's right there. It tells you in the thing as you build it out. I try to make this as simple as possible because I got sick of writing y'all's resumes for you. I want to teach you to fish. That's what I want to do here. Irony is that on the second, I don't think I've got it in this one, but yeah. I listed a bunch of like fake hub repositories, and one of them was called Jaeger Shell, because I thought would be hilarious that no one's going to believe is actually a thing. It's like Jägermeister, Jaeger Shell, so I put it in, built it. And I've started to see Jaeger Shell on other resume formats because people have been copying them and using them, and then seeing them actually like submitted to applicant tracking systems, and people have asked me, what's Jaeger Shell? It's not a thing, it's copy pasta. And then, oh, by the way, this past couple days, who here's been contacted by somebody, probably from another country, offering to do a certification for you? It's called cheating. One of my friends, and I'll probably do a post on this here shortly, one of my friends asked one of those people if she could get certified in Jaeger Shell. So she's denial of servicing the cheaters because they spent 3 days looking for the actual certification agency for something that doesn't exist. And I love that. That really warms my heart. Okay, so we talked about the 4 audiences. Yeah, lame, could be good, could be a good recruiter, hiring manager, target. So the takeaway from this one is that recruiters won't read, they will scan, so give them an opportunity to see the things. Objectives are for people that are transitioning careers or people re-entering the job market. No, by the way, and I can't tell you how many times I've had this happen, especially because most often it's ladies that stay at home and take the kids. Most often, from what I have seen quantitatively, Stefan, I'm getting back in the marketplace. Oh, fantastic, I'm excited for you. How can I help? Well, I used to be a C-level programmer 20 years ago, and should I even put that on my resume? Hell yes, you should put it on your resume. Because funny story, C hasn't really changed in 20 years. Do you still put a semicolon at the end of a line? Yeah, you do. So put it on. We talked about chronological order, most important things first, and references. Don't put the phone number or the contact information for your references on your resume because you're just wasting space. If I need a reference, I'll ask you for them. So have them, but don't put it on there. Especially once you start publishing your resume, now you're doxing your references. And they're going to start getting marketing calls because you had Kali Linux on your resume, and whoever database this got dumped into, now that person just got associated with Kali, and so they're going to have pen testing companies calling them to see if they need a pen test because you put their contact information on a resume that became public. I wouldn't talk about it if it weren't true. Okay, what is your way ahead? First off, you can do this. Now that we've got some direction and we've got a little bit of purpose and we've got motivation, you can do this. You can go make your own resume. You got it. Everybody put your hand up in the air. I'm not going to make you swear at anything because I don't do that, but just put your hand up there. Say, I got this. Say it again. One more time. Thank you. You can do it. You can get it through. You can get it to work. And here's the best thing is the community will help. Discord, LinkedIn, Slack channels all over the place. Veterans, if you're not a part of the VetSec Slack, you should be. Get in there now. There's a couple other ones. The community will help you with this. There's amazing people that they just love helping people with their resumes. And now, here's the actual piece. It's never about the resume. It's never about the resume. It's never about the resume because if you are a good hacker, you're out social engineering, right? Because if we can attack layer 8, then layers 1 to 7 crumble. It's the same thing with going out and finding a job. If you're out networking with the people around you, if you're going to Mr. Rodriguez's talk, if you're going to Mr. Oh my gosh, Nando. There we go. If you're going to Mr. Tomlinson's talk, and you're in, while you're here, talk to people. Your goal every week from here on forward should be to go to 2 networking events. Your local Python developer group, your local whatever group, every week, go to 2. It can be virtual. It's fine. If there's something in Florida, just log in. If there's something in Spain, just log in. Meet some people. For every 2 that you go to a week, try to have coffee with 2 people that you meet at those. In a year from now, think about how many cool people that you will have met. So a year from now, you've built your network. You've had those touch points. You're starting to understand who's who in the field, and people in the field are starting to understand who you are. And then jobs start happening. They'll say, hey, send me your resume. Now we've gone from submitting 200 resumes just out there in the wild to, yeah, give me your resume. Let me go talk to HR. That is when the magic happens. Because it's people, process, technology. If you start with technology, you're wrong. When Microsoft pivoted from focusing on people to the product, they slumped, and other companies started to Microsoft had to go through and rebuild their entire talent acquisition. They started having to go pay for the best developers, the best project managers, the best marketers in the world as they were coming out of college. And now we're just starting to see the point where that emphasis has been building and the fruit of that transition is happening. If Microsoft can make that pivot, so can you. People first, make the connections, shake the virtual hands, and eventually you'll start getting job opportunities. And then you'll start having too many job offers. Too many. All right. Here's my LinkedIn stuff again. Follow me on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification for more icons. Giveaways. So we WUS 36ACH, AC 1200 wide range USB. I assume that this you can use in promiscuous mode, so don't hit the wall of sheep, please. Go out, check it out. It's USB-C, which I think is pretty how you see the chipsets. They're still old, so who wants it? Yep. Hey, now, who wants this one? Can I ask a question? Anything? Got it. Look, the question is, if you're new to the industry, would you recommend putting things like CTFs and things that you've done on there? Yes. Anything that gives me the ability to walk to either a hiring manager or an HR team, or where I can say, hey, you need to talk to this guy or gal, and I slide them something, and I don't have to say anything else, that's a win. If I have to explain why someone is good, then it's a lot harder. So this has been one of my big things like for Hack the Box. If you're top 4% or higher, put that on your LinkedIn profile. By the way, top 10 for Hack the Box usually means that you're like logging in. 4% means you're better than most, or better than half. So yeah, like things like that. If you're doing CTF, especially if you're winning CTFs, because I go back to the three C's. Are you competent? That's really easy for me to like get to the point and get to yes. The question is, if you're going for an entry-level position, how do you differentiate yourself from other people that are going for other entry-level positions? If you're networking correctly, you won't really need to. So, and I say that, so let's go back to CTFs. You come to something like this and you go to the CTF. You get in, you start banging on a problem, converting emojis to text, whatever it happens to be, right? You get the flag, you stand up and you celebrate. It doesn't have to be loud or boisterous or anything, you just, yeah, just, and then you get another flag, and then you run into something that you can't get. And you start, hey, can you help me with this flag? Do you understand PowerShell? Do you understand Python? Can you help me with this? Oh, that's all it is? Awesome. And then you do a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And as you do that, you're building that networking, and somebody that is hiring position sees that you're excited about it, that you love doing it, and they can watch you versus the team on the board, right? And I've seen people, not just seen, like, oodles of anecdotes where people walk away from CTFs with jobs. You'll see hiring managers walk around. Sometimes they'll have their corporate shirt on, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they're just like, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. Tell me about that flag. Cool, where are you at in your career? Send me your resume. So that's a great way. That's, red team, blue team type things. The more active you are in the community, the better. So who here can write 1,000 words? 1,000 words. Good. Then you can write a LinkedIn post that will probably get at least 50, 60 likes. Man, I'm doing OSCP and I'm really struggling with the Sean box. It's IP 251. And I'm really struggling through it. But what I have found is as I go through this process that when I landed on the box, the IP address wasn't what I expected. So did I just accidentally pivot into another network? Am I in the dev network now? I am in the dev network, okay. So here's what I've learned. You're basically writing a post that's a write-up of what you're doing. That will get attention, and especially as you go through things that are difficult, if you're honest and you are vulnerable and you write down the things that you are working through, people will step in and they'll help you, which is great because you'll get to your goal. But what they're actually doing, whether they realize it or not, is they're seeing if they want to bring you to be a part of their team.
How important would you say going in that same vein is it, especially on LinkedIn and other social media, celebrating failures?
The question was, how important is it to celebrate failures, especially on LinkedIn, while you're going through some of that part of pain? This is something that's kind of divided in the influencer community. I still talk about my failures. I do it because I want people to learn about it. So the way that I message about my failures is probably different, and I do it in a way that I know will get less likes, will get less interaction, because unfortunately, the loudest, angriest voices in the community are the ones that get the most interaction. So when you do it, make sure that you write it while you're upset, but you don't post it while you're upset. I'm going to say that again. Write it while you're upset, but don't post it while you're upset. And when you do that, you can take a step back, go for a walk, play with the dog, grab a cup of coffee, come back in, look at what you wrote, scrub it one more time. The content will still be there. Massage it a little bit, and then post it. And when you do that, and you absolutely should, because there should be a lesson learned, there should be a key takeaway from it, there should be a call to action on the backside. And when you do all of that together, then I think you've got something that's much more meaningful that will help the community instead of just complaining. And when you do celebrate that failure in a good, positive way, the community responds usually pretty well. And specifically on this one, I'm talking, each of the different social media platforms has their own feel to it. I can't stand Twitter very much. I watch it for like CVEs and stuff that's coming out and announcements about B-sides. But for me, Twitter drags me down emotionally. So I will still post to it and still engage every now and then, but I like to be on LinkedIn where the community builds you up and makes you feel good about yourself and confirms that you are a champion. And then that perspective helps me drive my motivation to continue helping the community. Did that answer your question? Depends on where you are in your career, but yes. Can you speak just a little? Can you speak a little bit? Hmm? Yeah. So the question was, if you have expired certifications, do you put them on your resume or you take them out? I usually recommend leaving them on and just putting expired. Yeah, because I mean, let's be real. CPEs are stupidly expensive with some organizations. Now, does Stefan pay for his CISP every time? Yeah, because I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. And if we're going to break down different organizations, I'm not going to shoot any nuclear missiles at anybody or anything. But there are some that I keep going, and there's some that I honestly they're not really relevant to where I want to go with my future. If there's a point where I have to pivot back to a different career path, then I might go back and actually do those certs again or whatever the most up-to-date one is. It is I don't want to say it's a risk decision, but it's a calculated decision on whether you need to go back or not. But I usually do just put expired. Because that way at least one point you passed the thing. Let's give you credit. Do you do anything else to give back to the industry? Oh, sorry. The question was, if you're, say you just came out of school, you're in your first job, how do you set up your resume for your second job? Do you do anything else in the community? Are you involved in anything? Do you volunteer at B-sides? Do you do anything else that could help show that you're a competitor or champion? I'm assuming you do, so you put those things on there. And then if you're not doing those things, start doing those things. I think I'm on 4 different education boards or non-for-profit boards. Maybe it's 5 now. I don't know. Join them. Just show up. Show up to the meetings. Get there. And then at some point they'll be like, "Hey, we're looking for new officers for next year. Anybody want to apply? This is a general board seat. You don't actually have to run for it. If we think you're cool, you're in." You go, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then of those 5, I think that's probably only about 50 hours a month or 50 hours a year that I invest into those specifically to help outside of participating in them. And it's a phenomenal way to really show that that you're there, that you're ready to play ball, and that you've got a different perspective that other people might not have. Yeah, and it's super fun too. Really fun, rewarding. The question is, does number of pages matter? Yes, it does. Because that 23-year-old recruiter is coming to work probably hungover, and they can't read more than a page. Yep. So outside of the cyber industry, 1 page is the standard. then maybe another page for cover letter. But I don't FC UK, in my opinion. So yeah, one page is kind of the go-to. Usually you can get to one page if you're like a mid or a senior. You're no longer to show that you can perform. You've already performed, and the tone and the audience are different. If you're a junior or a mid, 2 pages is probably about right, especially when we look at somebody that's really technology focused, that's on the blue team side, because blue team you have to show proficiency in so many different applications and sets, and whether you're on an E5 license and you're working with Azure Sentinel and you've got a SIM that's out-based and there's connectors and you have to show that you've got API experience and you can push JSONs back and forth and you can PowerShell, out of a wet paper bag. So there are some times you have to go 2. Mine is currently 2 because I list my conference presentations. So like this one will be on there, and that list is pretty stupidly long. But that's because a lot of what I do is client-facing. So it's a way to show that for somebody with a very technical, hard-skilled background, that I can still talk to people. I'm so sorry.
There's a reason why I'm changing. Do you want to focus on getting certs, or do you want to focus on getting more education?
The question was if you're changing fields, in this case from accounting to cyber? To cyber. What should you focus on as you change those fields? So I'm not going to give you a specific answer because I don't think it's fair to give you a specific answer. I knew that one was coming. I'm not going to give you a specific answer because I don't know you yet. So let me walk you through the first 15 minutes or so of the talk that I do with mentors or mentees. Hi, I'm Stefan. How can I help? Well, sir, I really want to get into cybersecurity. Okay, why do you want to get into cybersecurity? Okay, why? They respond. Why? They respond. They respond. Well, because I think that I can bring a lot to an organization, and I really like seeing the organization change. There's the C word. Change. The C in cyber stands for change. Don't believe me? Come up, we'll talk for hours. The C in cyber stands for change. Now here's the problem. As a red teamer, very few organizations will actually do what you do. Who's written an executive summary, come back a year later, and cut and pasted the executive summary from a year before? Does that feel good? Does it feel like you were a valuable member of the team? Did you affect change at the organization? When you put your heart and soul, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and you finally got root, and then you told them, and they didn't do stuff, and you came back a year later, and that box is still there, and its uptime is 380 days. Does that feel good? Did you affect change? So if you're joining to affect change, the capabilities of each of the roles and what it is that you want to do. So many organizations, the CISO reports to the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, the lady or gentleman that runs the entire IT infrastructure of the organization. Their job is generally corporate. They're adjacent to the developer team. The CTO runs the developer team. The CTOs, their job is to get code into prod. So then you as the CISO or the person that's reporting to the CISO, you have no de jure authority to walk into the CTO side of the house and say, hey, we've got 3 O days against you right now. Oh, okay, how much revenue is that impacting? Oh, it's not? Cool. Then we're going to push that into 2 agile cycles, and then the guys that that wrote that code, they're on a really important project. So you're going to get the intern to fix the problem, and it's going to be a Band-Aid patch, and maybe we'll do that, but cool. So if change is really what you want, you have to find a good organizational place to affect that change. The culture of that organization has to be one of change, and that comes down to you. So that route can be really rough. If you really like relationships, then there's this whole other side of the organization, the developer side, the CTO side of the house. They drive revenue. The purpose for the company is to make revenue, and they are the ones that are going to move. So if you're on the CTO side, your life is like than as a vulnerability manager, where you're constantly trying to fight and get things to happen and the other people don't want to do it because it's time. Yeah. Two different things. I assume I've got okay, ask your question. You raised your hand, you have to ask a question now.
But there's also difficulty filling a lot of the cyber skills gaps.
Yeah.
Is that not affecting how hard future hiring managers, recruiters?
So the question was, looking back and the cyber skills gap, where does it actually sit? And how is it impacting recruiters and things like that? That's why we're starting to see cyber-specific external recruiters come to market now. We're starting to see people that actually have a background like me that were able to do it. That's why I was able to be successful, is because I know the bits and bytes. Internal HR usually still don't know how to read it. That's why is the success. That's why talking to people before you focus on process or profit is the way to win. And if you are a hiring manager, the most important relationship that you can have in terms of with your more later. Something good out of this today.